I started my first company at 24. I've been in this running businesses for 21 years
Wow.
and started in small business. And yeah, I'm founded in a public company now, but my roots are small business, right?
Mm.
And the grind of that, it's so hard for a small business person comparative to a large company where time and money are the scarcest of resources. And if you put that time and money into the wrong areas, it can sink you. And we
Yeah.
know in business, and especially in real estate, and you chase down the wrong thing, you put your time and energy in the wrong place. Well, how do you pay your food bills next week? Our mantra in this company is hearts before wallets. You have to put your heart into the customer before you can expect to get paid.
I love that. So let's get a little bit Welcome to a new episode of Real Estate vs. Technology. Question: have you ever thought about who goes to your website? Now, it's one thing to understand who goes to your website as far as like, okay, bounce rate, what pages they go to, and what have you. But have you thought about the opportunity to not just plant a Facebook pixel or Google pixel for retargeting, but more specifically go deeper with being able to get first name, last name, email address, are they a homeowner, LinkedIn information, and if someone goes to your website and does absolutely nothing? Yes, that's correct. Today, we're actually going to be going into a platform and interviewing the CEO of this platform that is doing just that. So you're going to want to make sure to stay into the end of the show. We'd love for you to subscribe, like, hit that notification bell, and let's get it started. We have the one and only, the CEO of the organization, and we have Nick on the show. Welcome. He's with the Blackpearl Group, and today we're going to be going a little bit into the Pearl Diver platform and offering. So, Nick, thanks so much for joining us for Real Estate vs. Technology today.
A pleasure, and thank you for having me, Norman.
Of course, of course. So I'm really excited to get into this because I think that with technology and how things are shifting and changing, it's very impactful. And I feel like that there's a lot of individuals out there that, yeah, they can say Big Brother and whatever they want. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of people just need to push themselves past the point of, because a lot of people don't download anything or call or text or email because of one reason or another. But if you were to be the individual that has a site that was utilizing your services and you were to get that contact information, connect on LinkedIn, reach out to that person one way or another, compliantly, of course, I think that could help people get past the needle of not doing anything or sitting on the fence, especially if we're talking about the real estate industry, the buying of a home or selling of a home. So I know that you have more than just Pearl Diver, you have the Black Pearl. So let's talk a little bit about like your starting of all of this and kind of give them just like a 20,000 foot, perspective for our viewers and listeners out there.
Absolutely. I'm the founder and CEO of Blackpearl, and we're a public company, so we've had over a decade experience in creating very affordable and impactful sales and marketing services for small to medium sized businesses. So our whole angle is finding rare or hard to access data sets and then using them to create really innovative products, and the whole purpose is to help our customers find more customers in an affordable and effective way. So, and I mean, there's never been a harder time to get a new customer than right now in the world, and so that's the challenge we're focusing. And by the way, apologies to everyone. No, your ears are not deceiving you. This is my real accent. Every New Zealander is unfortunately issued with one that sounds similar to this, so I would try and Americanize my accent, but it would just be flat out insulting. I can't hold a whole sentence together, so be
I
stuck
love
with it.
it. Hey, you got to stick with your heritage, and it's awesome at the end of the day. So don't worry about the American accent. I know before we got on air, we talked about how you have one of your offices out here in Phoenix and in the Arizona area, and I'm in Gilbert, Arizona. So who knows? Maybe in the future we can get you into our in-person podcast studio and run it back one day in the future. But let's get a little bit more into kind of Pearl Diver, how that works, and more specifically, potentially how that could work for someone. So I think we could do something a little bit different. Before we got on air, we talked about how you potentially could share a screen and share a little bit of how it works and kind of give us a little bit of a product overview and a demo. I think which would be great for our viewers and listeners. So if you are listening to this podcast right now, Spotify, Apple Podcast, make sure you go to the youtube.com, look up Real Estate First Technology Unleashed so you can be able to actually visually see this. But hey, if you're listening in and you're in the car and you're in traffic, just keep listening. You can always go back and see the visuals later on. So take it away, Nick. I'm curious to look at how this all works in the overview.
Awesome. Well, before I start putting a whole lot of sexy technology up on the screen, let me tell you why we invented this product. And it's super interesting hearing you talk about people's fear around the Big Brother part of thing. It was actually
Mm,
counteracting that Big Brother thing was the reason we came up with this technology,
interesting.
because there is a universal frustration when I speak to businesses, and it is this: everyone seems to know who's on your website other than you. So if
Ah,
you think about it, Google knows who's on your website, right? And
mhm.
Facebook knows who's on your website all the way, and but they control that data. They hold that data. They don't tell you. They know and they don't tell you, and then you have to pay your hard-earned money over to them, hoping to attract that person back to your website so
Interesting.
that they might fill a form out so you can speak to them, right?
Yeah.
Ah, isn't that feel like we're getting held to ransom? That you
It's
on
true.
a website you own with content you put up, a domain you own. It's all yours, and everyone else knows about it. It's it just it just blows
Mm,
me away. So the technology we use is actually very similar. It works very similar to the way that Google Analytics has worked for the last 20 years. You put
wow.
a pixel code on your website that captures things called first party identifiers. There's nothing mystical about that. These are things that are inherently exchanged by someone looking at your website in the back end. From a technical perspective, a thing like a mobile ID and IP address, things like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how Google Analytics works, and they have this massive database. They reconcile those
Mhm.
first party identifiers against that database, and then they say, "Hey, pay us some money, and we'll serve this person up some ads." So
Yeah.
where there's a strong divergence from that, we have an amazing customer base, which is real time. There's no web scraping. It's all first party data, which is really critical to make
Yeah.
sure that you're compliant. I mean, we're a public company, so there's no shades of gray on anything we do.
Yep.
And we reconcile those first party identifiers against that database. And then we tell you, hey, there you go. Now you know who's turned up to your website, and you, for pennies on the dollar, can control the outreach to them. And the way that we think about it is it gives you the ability of selling to the best and growing the rest. And so the
Wow.
whole idea is reduce the amount of dumb spend, and use the word dumb spend, and we do it still ourselves. We still
Yeah.
have to do it, right?
Mhm.
But on paid marketing, oh my gosh, it's just so expensive. It decreases in efficiency every year, gets
Mhm.
more expensive every year. So
Yeah.
you get less for more. It's not fair. So that's why I love this product. And let me see if I can. I may have successfully founded and exited a whole lot of technology companies, but I can't always successfully share my screen. So let me do my best here.
Love that. I love that. And as you're sharing your screen for the viewers and listeners out there, I think that first and foremost, I love the way that you kind of reverse that idea and ideology of the big brother mentality. And it's something that I think that people understand that like, Google Analytics and when it comes to various different websites and hosting and IP address, like it's out there. And individuals that are smart behind the scenes know how to use that data, like you said, like Google, especially if you're planting a Facebook pixel, and so they're doing what they're doing behind the scenes, which we don't know. Yes, they're a publicly traded company, but there's so many different nuances and ways to be able to, I don't know, make things work in the way that they want to make it work, however that works. And it's so true. You're spending additional hard earned money to pay for ads, to do retargeting. And that's a whole heap of another song and dance if you wish, and will. And then you have to figure out, if that's working and not, and then spend more money. And you're already having to do what? Plant a Facebook pixel. You could just go directly to say what you guys are doing, keep it simple, and then be able to use Pearl Diver to be able to just cut that in half and have quicker, faster success and get the information directly that you need to do what you need to do with it to be able to close additional transactions. And I could hear the passion in your voice, Nick. This is something you're very passionate about. And it makes a big difference when someone's passionate about something than someone's just kind of just, yeah, it's just whatever it is, what it is, just here for the money. Like it sounds like you're really here to help people. And I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I mean, I started my first company at 24, and for those of you maybe seeing this, you can see from the grays on the side, not 24 anymore. I've been in this running businesses for 21 years,
Wow.
and started in small business, and yeah, I'm founded in a public company now, but my roots are small business, right?
Mm,
And the grind of that, it's so hard for a small business person comparative to a large company where time and money are the scarcest of resources. And if you put that time and money into the wrong areas, it can sink you. And we
yeah.
know in business, and especially in real estate, like if you're a solo agent, right, and you chase down the wrong thing, you put your time and energy in the wrong place, well, how do you pay your food bills the next week? How, how
Yeah.
what's up with your kids? Like that. So I've got that in my DNA, and it's the hard way.
Mm,
I've gone with all those weeks not eating and not being able to pay bills, and that wasn't weeks; it was years of it, right? And
yeah.
so that's why I've got such high empathy. And our mantra in this company is hearts before wallets, and it's not because I'm a bleeding heart at all. What I say is that you have to put your heart into the customer before you can expect to get paid. And so there's a lot of passion. That's not just me, the whole organization, on how we're making our customers money. So I won't bore you with all the normal slides. I'll just get into the fun part, which is, the product, right?
Yeah.
So what I love about this product is it very literally 10 times as the opportunities you get from your website overnight.
Wow.
Now, just pause for that for a second, let that sink in, right? And so here's how that math works. Typically, if you've got a well put together website, optimized, and you're putting time and energy into it, 2% of people that turn up to your website will leave some contact information with you.
Okay.
Okay, so that's if you're doing well.
Hmm.
That's how many people you find out. So what we do is we look to reconcile about 25% of the people you think are turning up to your website. So
Mm,
let me give an example, right? Say you've got reasonable traffic to your website, like 10,000 people a month, which would be quite heavy traffic in real
yeah.
estate. The bad news is that half of them are probably bots.
Hmm.
So half of them aren't people, right? We do not serve up bots. So
Okay.
we don't give bad data. So then we look to reconcile about half of actual people turning up to your website. And why it's not more is because we will not serve data up unless it's been triple verified by 3 independent sources.
Mm, okay.
Because we all know of times in our lives that you've followed something up, you've acted on bad data. And that
Mm,
might not just be in
yeah.
work, it could be in personal life. If someone said something about you, well, in New Zealand, that's like, bang. Right, right. It's like, they didn't say that. I was like, oh, I'm in trouble now.
Uh,
So the point is, acting on bad data can cause you a whole lot of trouble in life.
mm,
So I'd rather not give you data than bad data.
yeah.
And so what you're going to get is great data. And the data that we give you is very literally the individual that turns up to your website and how to contact them.
Mm,
And most importantly, how engaged they are by how many times they've turned up.
mm,
So for those of you who are able to see the screen, well, can't see the screen at the moment, I'm showing a screen of who's turned up to a business's website, and it's got the individual's first name, last name, their email address, how many times they've visited, their location, and then some business information. Now, obviously, in real estate, if you're in commercial, that's super important. You're
Yeah.
in residential, then you're after business to what we call business to consumer information. We give both types of records, business to business, which is awesome for, again, when you're in commercial.
Hmm.
Business to consumer has a different richness of data associated with that record. So you click on the person that's turned up to your website, and you can see geographic location, address, you can see gender specified, age range, income range.
Mm.
Why is that important? And like business to business, again, if you can't see the screen, you can see the company name, their job title, seniority, revenue of the company, industries, all those.
Yeah.
Why is that information important? Because you now have an ocean of opportunity more than you had beforehand, right? You had 2% of people coming getting information from your website. Now you got 20 or 25% of people. And
Mm.
what we saw at this point, especially, and again, if you're thinking about real estate, you're busy, you've got, a whole lot of paperwork in the back end, and then you're a whole lot of people that you're sifting through to try and get,
Yeah.
stock to sell to, people wanting to buy that stock. You're working incredibly long hours, and you're under, high stress. It's feast or
Mhm.
famine. So what you want to do is put your time and energy into the ones that are most likely going to buy, and then for pennies on the dollar, grow the rest. And so the whole thing is, out of an ocean of opportunity, create a few audiences so you can easily find the people that are most likely to buy, and then everyone else you retarget. And how I would advise in the let's use is it mostly uh,
And more
uh,
residential on our side.
residential? I'll stick on that as an example. Perfect. So you would create a filter with a bunch of information like geographic location of the individual, income range,
Hmm.
because if someone clearly is out of that price range for that um, house, in the car industry, it's a tire
Hmm.
kicker. I don't know the equivalent in real estate. There's a letterbox kicker if you don't have the money for the house, but you're looking at it still.
Yeah.
You've heard it here first, team. Letterbox
I like
kickers. You don't
that.
want to follow them.
You usually hear tire kickers, but litter box kickers. I like that.
Yeah. So what you don't want to do is put your time and energy on them. What you want is people that can afford the house in the right location and are highly engaged. Hey, if they come back to that website 3 or 4 times, they're the ones you put your time and energy into today, right?
Mhm.
Everyone else, and here is the best advice you'll get from me all day: put them in your email newsletter. Everyone that turns up to your website has consented to get an email. If you get if you use us, we make sure your consent strings are in place, so you're all, you know, uh, got all the T's crossed and I's dotted,
Mhm.
and put them on your email newsletter list, because newsletters and email is actually the antidote to pay to play advertising, because
Yeah.
it's a list you own, you control, you can activate and push out to for pennies on the dollar anytime you want. But the trouble with email marketing is getting consented, engaged, and profile people to market to.
Yes.
And this is the way of filling that up with people that are clearly interested because they've turned up to your website, they've had a good look at it, they're
Yep.
clearly engaged, and they're consented. And I will tell you that as a compounding asset, and over the course of a year, you use this product, I expect at least a bear shout from everyone, because you should have an awesome marketing asset at the end if you're doing that right.
I
And
love
then the last part is, of course, you've created these great audiences. What do you do with them? You can import them straight into whatever CRM you're using and do the pre-filtering at Pearl Diver's end,
it.
or
Hmm.
you can do it in your CRM, whatever you like. So, or you could send this directly to your marketing automation system, to your email newsletter. So just think of this as a little bit like a traffic conductor, and it's just going to push those specific audiences where you action them the best. And
Love.
so for If you don't have a lot of marketing sophistication in place as an agent, then use this as a lo-fi marketing automation tool. If
Mm,
you have all these other things in place, treat this as a set and forget tool, because you just don't need to be running in to, trying to manage yet
yeah.
another tool in your busy day. It works equally as well depending on how you want to operate.
I love that. I love that. That's definitely very powerful, and it's plug and play. It seems simple,
Yep.
easy, plug and play, and nice because individuals can have the opportunity to be able to just focus on. I love that email marketing, getting those individuals into that campaign, retarget the rest that are going to be the ones that may be a little further out, and this gives you another layer of opportunity. And that's where I see the rubber meeting the road when it comes to like liftoff agent, Pearl Diver, and where there can be a symbiotic relationship because I think a lot of agents don't understand one, how to use a website. They're busy, they're transacting, they're making calls. There's a lot of traditional marketing going on out there. And now moving forward 2024 and beyond, and you're seeing a lot of YouTube passive prospecting websites with downloadable guides that attach to that, or maps. And I think this is just one more intricate opportunity to be able to maximize and to see not who goes to your website, but also what's going on and how you can put them through the process to just maximize all efforts. Because I feel like agents don't really have like the widest funnel. And I feel like this gives the opportunity to increase that funnel, make it wider, and then set up your systems and processes and just let it just rinse and repeat and be an autopilot.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. So agents are one of our largest kind of cohorts of customers we've
Okay.
got, and typically on average they're the lowest traffic per site. So when
Yeah.
we think of our ideal customer profile, we're looking for someone with usually around over 2,000 site visits
Okay.
a month, or a price point of over $400, or really sophisticated marketing. Any one of those three
Yep.
things. And so when we see, agents, usually they're time poor, so they've set up some marketing but they're not active on it. Their traffic's really low. Maybe it's only a couple of hundred visits, or 100, 200 visits, but what you get from selling a home, or getting that stock in or anything, that's where the payday comes down. So it's disproportionate. So the
Yes.
advantage of Pearl Diver is when you don't have a lot of traffic, you need to maximize every opportunity you've got. And I
Yes.
loved you use the word opportunity. I don't call these leads, because these are qualified and engaged people, but at the same time, they're not people that have said contact me. They're a little bit in this middle
Yes.
area, and we call them opportunities because that's what they are. And if you take your opportunities, then you'll win in life. And if you just look at them and hope them to convert themselves, well, this isn't the product for you. So yeah.
Agreed, 100%. I love that. And that's where I feel like more to come behind the scenes with Liftoff Agent and Pearl Devil in regards to offering it to agents at a cost that makes sense from, an entity that's a marketing solution for real estate agents that can be able to put this into perspective and bundle this into one of our programs that we already currently have. So more to come with that. Don't want to say too much but behind the scenes here, or should I say publicly, as maybe behind the scenes there could be something working out. So always like to add value. And that's why we like to interview individuals like yourself, because we want real estate first technology to be a resource for this industry, for real estate professionals, mortgage professionals in the residential sector. And I think that this is an awesome opportunity to just add one more layer, especially for anyone who's listening and viewing out there that are at that $400 price point and above, that want to take advantage of this today, and not to wait for anything that potentially can happen behind the scenes, because this is something that potentially could just help you catapult, especially for, and there's a lot of individuals out there in the real estate space that have like downlines. So there'll be like 3,000 agents under a downline to an agent that is growing an EXP downline, if you will. And some of these agents have huge, huge teams underneath the downline, and massive productions, and driving hundreds of thousands of people to their sites. And so this could be a great tool for someone who is sitting at EXP or Real, or even at the traditional brokerage like KW, to be able to maximize a tool and services like this. So I love this. I love it.
Th- Thank you very much. Yeah, it's exciting. I love the product. It's definitely in our group. It's my favorite product. Like, I just think it's cool, and I love the fact that it just helps people solve their revenue problem in a very affordable way, because life's tough and we just want to make it a little easier and make a little bit more money, right?
Yes, exactly. And it's something I think is easy, in the Pearl, Black Pearl ecosystem, easier for someone to grasp and understand, especially from the public standpoint, that they could take advantage of and maximize. So at the end of each show, we love to be able to add value from the perspective of like something you want to give for the viewers and listeners as we close out, maybe something they could think about to maximize these opportunities. You talked about the email marketing and what have you on that side, or even, a success story or something that you can leave them with as we finish off our show, and we add a little bit of the last piece of value before we close out.
Well, you talked about some of the larger businesses that have, lots of traffic going to them, and let's say that you're actually got a dedicated marketing team and you're putting money into paid advertising.
Mm,
One of the hidden gems out of Pearl Diver is the ability of only putting your retargeting money on people you define to be a good buyer. So typically, and you mentioned right at the start of this that people do retargeting money on everyone that turns up to your website. But if that person is not going to buy, or you think is just wasting your time, why would you pay Google or Facebook money to follow them around the internet?
so true.
Only pay the money on the ones that you have defined in an audience are likely to be good buyers. And that is an awesome way of actually increasing conversion rates and
Mhm.
decreasing marketing spend in one foul swoop. Two birds, one stone. So there's my
Boom.
parting wisdom. Don't
I
ask me anything more. I
love
don't know
that.
any more.
Love that. No, that is awesome. And that's what it is, right? I think more and more times other than none, it's like, knowledge is power. Yes, if you know how to use it. And so, that's what we want to make sure people leave with on today's show. It's like, yeah, here's the knowledge of a really powerful tool, but now let's put it into practical action. So, links are down below. Go check out Pearl Diver. Go check out Nick. He has additional podcasts, additional information on the company. You could do all your own research. We want to go a little bit deeper here and give you all an opportunity to meet the founder and CEO of the organization, because I believe when you get to a larger organization like a publicly traded company, you have a lot of individuals representing the brand, representing the company, and you don't always get the opportunity to have this type of one-on-one opportunity. So I'm very grateful and blessed that you gave us your time, Nick, to be able to be on the show today so we could share this with our viewers and listeners. So thank you so much for joining us on an episode of Real Estate First Technology, man.
Man, absolute pleasure. I really appreciate the opportunity, Norman. Yeah, anytime.
Likewise, likewise. Well, that's what we want to give all our viewers and listeners out there. So if you found value, like, subscribe, notification bell. And as always, it is our intention for you to take things from our show to apply to your business to have more massive success. We'll see you all on the next one. Thanks again, Nick.